Good evening. This is the Common Sense Party podcast. We've been up for a while. We're back on this election Tuesday. Today we'll talk about elections in Ohio, Virginia, Mississippi, and I think Kentucky. Yeah, there you go. And also, have you seen the polls? Why is Biden down on the polls? What are they asking? And is Trump a clout chaser? But we're going to start tonight with paying homage to Matthew Perry. He passed away recently, so he is one of the favorite characters on Friends. So we're going to get it started with Matthew Perry.
I can't take this. No. She's right. Yeah. General, I saw some guy last night. The sexy. You saw look it up.
That is our tribute to Matthew Perry.
I don't want to pay something insurance anymore. I work for myself.
Yeah, you do work for yourself. That was Matthew Perry. This is the Nature of the Color Part. Sorry. This is the Common Sense Party podcast. Our mission is to bring common sense to all the craziness that's happening inside and outside of politics. We are available on Amazon Music, Spotify, iHeartRadio, TuneIn, Pandora. Yes, we're still working on getting a Apple, what's the word I'm looking for? Apple ID, there you go. Yes, we would first like to thank our listeners in Ashburn, Virginia, Brussels, Belgium, Norcross, Georgia, Corona, California, Independence, Philadelphia, Los Angeles, California, San Diego, California, Santiago, Chile, Tulsa, Oklahoma, and Peru. I guess that's in Mexico. We appreciate you listening to us, downloading, tell a friend to tell a friend. First, we're going to start with the results of, I guess, Kentucky. There we go.
Of Kentucky, Steve Kornacki is still at the big board. See what's the latest. Yeah, our decision desk has now made it official, and they are comfortable declaring that Andy Beshear, the Democratic incumbent governor of Kentucky, has been reelected, but he will defeat his Republican challenger, the sitting Attorney General Daniel Cameron. We've been, no surprise, if you've been watching all night, we've been seeing county after county come in Kentucky, with Beshear running ahead of how he ran in 2019, not by leaps and bounds, but by several points, just county after county. The pattern very clear at this point. It's the state he won by less than 1 point 4 years ago. He had a very high approval rating, very high personal favorability rating. The Cameron campaign and Republicans have been working to attach Beshear to Joe Biden's National Democratic Party, both of which remain very unpopular in Kentucky. But it looks like that personal popularity and that high job approval rating for Beshear have run out. He's willing to get a second term. He's the second Beshear to get a second term as governor of Kentucky. His father was a two-term governor as well, not that long ago. Just again, we can show you. We got a big batch of votes from Louisville, Jefferson County, core Democratic county. We said this would be a big tranche of Beshear votes. A few of those came in just a little while ago. That's an area that I think you really see about the improvement from Bashir over the last time around. He's running 6 points better in Fayette County, second biggest county in the state, than he did 4 years ago. I look up in Scott County, he's running at 55% basically now. He was under 50 4 years ago there. Take over the state capital, Franklin, county where Frankfurt is. He got 61% of the vote here 4 years ago. He's at 68.5 with almost 95% in. So that has been the pattern. These big Democratic vote producing counties, he's getting more votes out of. In Republican counties, he's still losing them, but he's not losing them by as much. They're all on touch what's going to be a victory for Andy Bashir in the second term of the governor's race. One of the things in the lead up to the race, wasn't a ton of polling, but to the extent we had polling, we looked at the rates. This was my understanding of the folks in Kentucky politics. The expectation, at least, was that heading into night, Bashir was the favorite, that he brought a pretty good campaign, that he was a fairly popular incumbent. That generally your sense. I would say, until a week ago, roughly, or a little bit less. There was a poll that came out at the end of last week that had it tied. And there was a second poll that came out yesterday that had 2 points. And there was a thought that it was possible Cameron changed tactics late in this campaign. He's been running a very sort of aggressive anti-Bashir campaign with some name calling involved. But toward the end of the campaign, the Cameron folks shifted tactics to put him up on the air when he talks to the camera. He says, maybe Bashir's not a bad guy. He said, let me just have some disagreements. So it's a very different tone. So there was a question. We saw that polling in the final days. If that shifting tone, coupled with the antipathy of Kentucky voters towards Biden versus National Democratic Party, if that will add up to a great kick here for Cameron and close the gap. But we'll end up closing the gap to a degree that he doesn't lose this thing by putting one of the lose about, but it certainly wasn't enough to get over the top. Yeah, it's also interesting. They really did. I mean, I saw some of the ads for some of the campaign stuff. It really wasn't focused on Joe Biden. It really was like, Andy Bashir is Joe Biden's buddy. Andy Bashir and Joe Biden. That was a central thrust, which does not appear to have been effective, at least not to get them over the hump for victims. Thank you very much.
Yeah, they were trying to connect Bashir to Biden, but the question is, was that a good strategy? Did that work? Did that work? Did he win because of his popularity, or did he win because of his what's the word I'm looking for? Oh, did 1, 2, 3? Do they credit Biden in any way for that victory, or that's just Bashir? That's the one thing I don't understand. Because according to polling, if whoever wins the governorship in Kentucky, it goes for the president. So the last 5 cycles, if a Republican wins, a Republican president. When Obama was in office, it was two Democratic governors. When Trump was in office, one Republican governor, and now Biden won in 2020. Yeah, 2020, now going 24. Yeah, so 2024, it looks good for Biden, I guess. Okay. The next big thing for the night was weed and abortion in Ohio. Let's see what happens.
Has just made a call in Ohio on issue 1, and we project that it will pass. Yes, on issue 1 will pass, putting the right to abortion in the state constitution in Ohio, but with a provision that restrictions can be applied after the point of fetal viability, about 22, 24 weeks. But you can see right now we've got more than a third of the vote in here in Ohio on this. It is leading, yes, is leading by about 17 points right now. And as I was just showing folks on Chris's show a few minutes ago, what's happening now is counties are reporting out, getting close to or hitting 100% of their vote. And what we're seeing is there was this test vote this summer where opponents of this tried to put language on the ballot that they said you raise the threshold to 60% for a constitutional amendment to defeat this. That went down to defeat this summer, and we're seeing in every county that's completed, we're seeing results that are basically a mirror image of this summer. The folks who are against raising the threshold this summer are voting for this tonight in basically equal numbers to completed counties. So that this summer, by proposal to raise the threshold was 57-43. This thing is right now on track to land right in that territory. So that is the NBC News projection that this is going to carry. And you can see based on the completed counties we've had so far, it could be by a pretty high margin.
There was a lot of, shall I say, maybe misdirection from the part of Republicans in the state who changed some of the language in this amendment and on the actual ballot. The language that will be enshrined in the state's constitution is not what voters actually voted on tonight. I believe they voted on different language that refers to fetuses and child. There was all this sort of back and forth about the earlier ballot issue one in August, the ballot issue one now in November. Can you talk a little bit about what we know about how any of that played? Do we have any information about parts of the state that came in stronger than expected?
You know, I think the story is the consistency between the vote this summer and the vote tonight. It really feels like the folks this summer who had decided they wanted to vote for this voted down that initiative this summer to raise the threshold. And the numbers really get the same. That's what I'm struck by. It's sort of same results. Take like a Washington County right here. So we've got almost all the voting in Washington County. This is one of the counties where issue one is going to follow. But supporters of issue one are sitting at 40.5% in this county with just about all the voting. This summer, supporters of issue one, you presumably voted no this summer because they didn't want to raise the threshold. But no in this same county this summer got 42. So it really doesn't look like we're not seeing shifts of more than a point or two in these completed counties. So this really does feel like the turnout is higher, it looks like, but it feels in many ways like it's just a rerun of this summer. And the folks on both sides kind of had the same sense then as they do now about what they're voting on. They have the length, they have in both cases.
To be clear for everybody at home, Ohio is effectively a red state at this point. This is one of the first times voters in a red state have been asked to vote affirmatively for reproductive choice. That's correct, right, Steve?
Yeah, and that is I think, a key point going forward, because this is also seen as a model for other red states and swing states in 2024, where folks are going to try to get this on the ballot in South Carolina, for instance, Florida, and Arizona. And the difference here, there are other states that have put abortion rights constitutional amendments in, but blue states like California, New York, Vermont, Maryland, California, Nevada, too, have done it, New York, and Maryland are trying. Basically, California and Vermont said it's in the state constitution, right to an abortion, and they felt no need to restriction on that. Folks here in Ohio did feel that pressure. That's why they also inserted that language that says restrictions can be placed basically up to the 27th, 24th week, so they're going to complain with fetal viability. And that's the additional language that I think you're going to see exported to those red states and to those swing states when folks try to do this ballot measure next year. Again, like in a place like South Carolina, a place like Arizona, a place like Florida, I think you're going to see language allowing for restrictions at the point of fetal viability. It's a test tonight in a red state like Ohio with giving that kind of provision for a restriction along with the constitutionally mandated right to abortion. If that combination would be politically successful, it clearly is in Ohio, and I think that then creates a roadmap for other states for supporters of this next year.
Yeah, we're going to see a lot of playbook development this evening. I want to just get into some of the specifics here on issue one. It was being positioned by the right as a vote on late-term abortion. And to be clear, issue one does not allow abortions up until birth on the way. What it does do is allow for abortions until around the 23rd week of pregnancy, and then after that, it allows for the health of the mother to be taken into account. Issue 1 ensures that if a doctor believes that an abortion is necessary to save the life or the health of the mother, even late in the pregnancy, that the doctor can legally perform an abortion. Now, there was a lot of discussion tonight about what might happen if issue 1 failed, because the Republican majority on the Ohio Supreme Court could have reinstated a temporarily frozen 6-week abortion ban that has no exceptions for rape or incest. We do not think that will supersede what has happened tonight.
Okay, kids, got a question. How do you feel about abortion? Do you feel that the government should have rights in this case, or it should be up to the woman? In Ohio, they voted to have the rights back in the Constitution because Roe versus Wade was overturned. So, how do you feel about abortion? Should it be in the Constitution? Should it be illegal? Should it be legal for all 50 states federally? All right. Moving on. Let's talk about polling. All right. This crazy thing I don't understand about polls is, why is Biden losing to a dude who's up for fraud, a clout chaser? He gave away secrets, and he doesn't like poor people. I don't understand. How is he losing to somebody like that? All right, check this out.
First, saying about the job President Joe Biden has done as president. Jake, the country has soured on Joe Biden. There's just not another way to put it. According to our latest CNN poll conducted by SSRS, a national poll that gives us this snapshot of time. Biden's approval rating is 39% no, 61% disapprove of the job he's doing. Look at it by party. You see that even among his fellow Democrats, he's only at 77% approval at this point. Only a third of independents approve of the job he's doing. And of course, as you might imagine, only 5% of Republicans. How are things going in the country today? Badly, say nearly 3/4 of respondents in this poll, 72%. Things are going badly in the country today. Only 28% say they're going well. Again, that astonishing number on whether or not Biden has the stamina and sharpness to serve effectively as president. Only 25% of poll respondents say that he does have stamina. 74% say no. And I know you're a history buff like I am. So look here on this chart of where Biden's modern-day predecessors were in their approval rating at this point in their presidency. And Jake, you see, Biden is down there between Donald Trump and Jimmy Carter. And now, that is down to the category of one-term presidents. He clearly wants to turn that around, and he's got to your future. All right, that's right. Thanks so much. All right, so let's talk through some of this. David Axelrod, let's start with where David Chalian just finished. The territory of one-term presidents, going back to Jimmy Carter, Jimmy Carter was at 32%. That's worse. Okay, but that's about as but the difference here is that he isn't running against Ronald Reagan. He's not running against some first running against Ronald Trump. That's what makes it. But I think also another person at that place. I mean, his numbers are equally bad, though. Other candidates. So, yeah, that's strong leadership question. So, I would say this. whether it's fair or not, Joe Biden has a round accomplishment for his credit.
Did you know we fought one nigga here, Nick?
Prison for which people on jobs and some other measures has done quite well. Despite all those facts, he and maybe no incumbent president at this juncture is going to win a referendum on the phones. He has to frame the choice. He has to frame it aggressively. He has to frame it right, because if nothing else, these are a flashing red light.
So David went through independence, and I just want to say overall, of course, right now, independence 45% Trump. And as David was just saying, independence is very green rules. Sort of distance where the election is going to around what they see in Trump. And one of the things I think I'm most compelled by is that this earlier, Barack Obama grew his electoral right. He brought right over saying Joe Biden was added to the ticket because he really drew the young someone in the back. I disagree with maybe, but I think it was fine.
I don't know what she's doing well in these polls and there's a lot of voters overseas. Something like 61.
That's what I'm talking about. That's what's actually happening tonight, right? So we have voting tonight. We have a long way to go. There are a lot of votes still coming in. Obviously, the vote race is yet to be called. Going on, but so far we are seeing more Republican turnout than was anticipated. We are seeing Democrats turn out. We've obviously seen the numbers in Ohio. Abortion clearly motivated folks. So again, a lot of opportunity here. Yes, is there work for Joe Biden to throw these numbers? Of course. I think he would say that if he were saying that. There is an enormous opportunity for him because these issues, there's enormous space for him to grow. So I think we should, rather than looking at a problem, informative information, of course it does, right? That's true. But no plan is definitive. Trump is outperforming them. It's not traditional siding on issues like climate change, because I think Trump just it goes back to the magic issue of age. And despite the fact that Donald Trump and Joe Biden are 3 years apart, perception of what reality of politics. Democrats who say that anyone who votes for Trump somehow supported Republicans, or that the people would vote for Trump because of the war and immigration policies. And what none of those two groups, that's not what you see in our
There's a college class and that's something that sometimes the regrets but you don't. I want to teach you how to eat.
Exactly. So there, but the we're a year out. The good news is that we are a year out. And I'm glad to remain this news about this election night about 1 year.
All right, folks.
Building your custom home.
All right, folks. I can't understand young people. Why are young people going towards Republicans who are taking away their rights, taking away your parental rights, they're taking away Social Security, they're taking away Medicare and Medicaid. You're voting for a party that is taking stuff away from you. Please. People between 18 and 35, please let me know if I'm not going crazy. Why are you supporting someone who's going to take something away from you that is not being progressive? They're being stagnant. Is it, you think that old Republican thing is that they're spending money? Yes. The biggest people who are benefiting from working class money is rich people. They get a tax cut. If the Democrats win back the House, Senate, and the White House, they'll go after the what's his name? The new House Speaker put a bill on the floor to help Israel, but it takes money away from the IRS to go after those people who cheat taxes. So you're voting for someone who will enable rich people, but you're not rich. So please let me know. I have no idea. Also, I didn't even know there was a race in Rhode Island. Check us out.
The results are now in for Congressional District 1 race. And
I'm Shannon Hagee, WPRI, now calling Gabe Amo the projected winner. The total so far, right there at the bottom of your screen. An historic night as Amo becomes the first person of color to represent Rhode Island in Congress.
let's see things out to 12 News politics editor Ted Nesi, who's live in Pawtucket at Gabe Amo's headquarters. Ted?
Well, Mike and Shannon, they are just taking your shot right now. I think this room is about to explode with excitement when I hear you announce that Gabe Amo has won the Rhode Island First Congressional District Special Election. He is the first-time candidate, 35 years old. He's now headed to Washington as a member of the U.S. House. Amo is serving in West African Americans, will be the first person of color to serve in the House of Representatives. Cheers behind me as this crowd sees our announcement on Channel 12. Now, we do expect to hear from you a short time from now coming out to address this crowd, and we expect him to be sworn in and serve as next week. So let's go to know what the hell with the government shutdown was. Now, I'll send it back to you from Kentucky in the studio.
School bond referendum in North Kingstown that has been voted down.
That's right, one of 8 that's being decided across Rhode Island, but again, the North Kingstown school bond has been voted down. That was a school bond mixed with a public safety bond as well. But stick with 12 News, we're tracking mayoral race.
All right. Yes. First person of color to go into the House. So that's kind of good, I think. I have no idea. Is it good? All right. Moving on. Moving on to Wells Fargo. And did you have a Wells Fargo account that was or a Bank of America account that didn't get your deposit? I didn't get my deposit, but I think I got it today. But check this out.
I woke up this morning and I went to check my mobile banking app, and to my surprise, we were still at it. And we're so glad they're trying to manage after what looks like another planned outage. Maybe this was a planned attack. It isn't just Bank of America either. Other major Wall Street banks like Wells Fargo and Citigroup are still causing problems for bank customers who still can't get access to their money and their paychecks from last week. A problem that you supposed to have over the weekend. Bank account that so purpose. We don't see people getting worse. Breaking just minutes ago, reports of customers of major U.S. banks such as Bank of America experienced delays in receiving their direct deposits due to a process that went from again cybersecurity issue, and that supposedly it had been resolved, but on Monday, yesterday, customers still reported delays. So that's what can be done to protect the time of receipt of my direct deposit paycheck. Impacting Texas customers before sharing a screenshot of the banking alert warning message. Some deposits may be temporarily delayed. Yeah, because that's the message that you want to read when you first open your banking app the morning you're supposed to receive your paycheck. Some deposits from 11/3 may be temporarily delayed due to an issue impacting multiple financial institutions. Your accounts remain secure and your balance will be updated as soon as the deposit is received. You don't need to take any action. I believe banks are truly out of touch with reality sometimes. Which is a payments company, explained that a processing error caused some ACH payment instructions to be sent with masked customer names and account numbers on November 2nd, leading to payment delays. To resolve the issue with impacted financial institutions. Now, this is what boggles my mind, and that is how long has the ACH been processing payment instructions? Because saying that they've been doing this for at least 30 years, right? How all of a sudden do they make a mistake and accidentally cause this processing error and send some ACH payment instructions with masked customer names and account numbers? That's not what that should be. Because Chase plans to post somebody find any overdraft resulting from the problem. Customers from various banks reported ongoing issues on Monday, yesterday, including problems with fund transfers and account balances, and frustrated customers expressed their concerns on social media, which rightly so. And someone mentioned yesterday that there are more planned outages coming soon. I voted again, which included a list of U.S. cities that the FBI has warned to be on the lookout and get ready to be prepared for potential attacks. Facing lockdowns coming soon and a declared state of emergency, which seems to be a whole lot more of those, no shortage of those here lately. I looked into it and they were right. This has happened before. Just like in Dallas, Texas, just a couple months ago when there was a planned citywide internet outage and network outage. So the city of Dallas had recently conducted a planned network outage from a specific time range. During this time, various city services, including call centers, internet, sounds like the making of some new purge movie or something. And they said that the upgrade was necessary. Future maintenance activities will aim to minimize disruptions. However, emergency calls to 911 were still operational, but the computer aided dispatch system was temporarily unavailable during the maintenance period. And residents were informed through various channels about the scheduled outage, much like the October 4 broadcast alert and wrestling system. I would imagine. I want to be safe out there and stay safe and stay alert. Shortages are on the rise, and this is only going to put people further on edge as they are trying to juggle everything else being thrown at them all at once. These shortages are going to create panic, anxiety, fear, chaos, and some folks just may not be thinking all too clearly or may even have a screw coming loose. Don't become a victim. Mental health scares, the wellness checks are on the rise, and just here and there, man, speak checks after a wellness check. Stepped out of his car, he was done, and ended his own life right there in the street. It's important that we stay connected, and most importantly, stay connected to the truth. Shortage of and limitations and restrictions placed on YouTube channels and other truth seekers because they want to control the narrative. They want to control us, so they don't want you to be prepared or have information focused on preparedness. Continue to inform and update as many as possible and as many who can share this information with others so that there are less sheep roaming aimlessly in the herd. Remember, time to flip on chips, and right now we need each other just as much as we need the word of the Lord. Stop the fight, create actionable solutions, and help each other as best we can. Try not to lose hope because that is.
All right there. He had me up until then. What Was it an outage? Was it an attack? I don't know, but I'm not into conspiracy theories. But my bank account was just my one bank account, which is Bank of America. I don't know if that was a cyber attack, but hey, I just wanted to get it out there. But he's going through some personal issues, so I'll take it with a grain of salt. All right, moving on to what is secular? Check this out.
Which religion should rule us all?
None. That is the answer.
Well, isn't that secularism?
That's not secularism. I think that capitalist secularism is something that has used a substitute religious-like worldview to foist that affirmatively onto multiple institutions across this country. I think that there are many forcible agendas. If you have to pledge allegiance to a diversity, equity, inclusion agenda as a function of getting a job, I think that is a Title VII violation, civil rights violation today. So I don't believe that there should be any religion, secular, humanism, or otherwise, foisted upon anyone, certainly not through the government. My view is you have free expression in the United States. I'm an ardent defender of religious liberty. Whatever your religion is, you have the right to practice it as long as you're not explicitly harming somebody else.
That's literally secularism. That's literally the definition of secularism.
Well then, Cenk, what I would say is respectfully, whatever word you use to describe it, I've written a whole book about this, and so we can debate the vocabulary, but in concept, I believe that every religion should be practicable in the United States with religious liberty as long as you're not harming somebody else. And the government cannot establish any one religion as the governing religion for the United States of America. That's what the U.S. Constitution says.
That's exactly right. That's in the U.S. Constitution. That is why the U.S. Constitution is considered the first secular constitution. But okay, now we're rolling a little bit civic stuff.
Well, look, I think it's in the First Amendment for a reason. Free speech, free expression, freedom of religious choice, and non-establishment. Yes, those are foundational for a constitutional republic. I do think that many of the philosophies that are foisted on kids, the hostility towards schools that may want to adopt certain religious worldviews as private schools, the hostility towards somebody who says if you don't approve of a certain kind of marriage, you still have to appreciate that marriage using the state's force to do it. That's what I mean by capitalist secularism, to say that you are forcing somebody to do something that violates their religion using the government's power to do it. That is what I reject. And so, what you want, it's not the vocabulary that matters, it's the concept. I haven't disagree with me on that, but at least we can smoke out it is rather than worrying about the verbiage.
Okay, that is secularism. So, how do you feel about that? Let me know. All right, moving on to our main story. Is Trump clout chaser? Yes, is he a clout chaser? So, during his testimony, he went nuts. Is nuts the word? I think so. Very combative. Check it out.
Where just a short time ago, Donald Trump's testimony went from combative to, in the words of our NBC News producer, inside the courtroom, completely out of control. The former president ranting on the witness stand, attacking the judge for finding him guilty of committing fraud, saying, quote, "The fraud is on the court, not me." It follows several hours of repeated clashes, not just between the former president and prosecutors, but between Trump and the judge, who's been trying to keep things on track. Judge Ed Barr has repeatedly warned Trump not to go off on tangents. He grew so frustrated, he called on Trump's attorney to control the former president, warning him this is not a political rally, and then later besieging him to control Trump. In courtroom moments, Trump has argued his assets were actually vastly undervalued by accountants. In the case of Mar-a-Lago, insisting it's as much as 100 times more valuable than the $28 million estimate. The judge has already ruled Trump and his family committed fraud. This is about what kind of penalties they might face, including whether the Trumps will be barred from ever running a company in New York again. Joining me now, Sue Craig, investigative reporter for the New York Times, who has been in the courtroom today, along with MSNBC legal analyst Lisa Rubin, who also just left the court. Carol Lennig is a national investigative reporter for the Washington Post and co-author of the book, A Very Stable Genius. She is an MSNBC contributor. So Lisa, you literally just ran out of court. This sounds almost unlike anything I've heard coming together in a courtroom, or I should say perhaps falling apart. What happened in there?
We need to choose a new leader and let Trump come. Our choice. We need Trump in our future.
Well, I think what happened in there is what I and other colleagues in the system have largely predicted would happen, which is what happens when Trump's rants outside the courtroom suddenly vibrate inside the roads, and testimony that the Attorney General is trying to elicit inside Judge Arthur Warren's court. And indeed, that has happened. So Trump, when faced with the question he does not rank, one that usually calls for a yes or no answer, repeatedly digresses to talk first about the insanely high value of his assets, and then over time it has progressively morphed into more angry rants about the judge himself, about the Attorney General, about the disclaimers in his financial statements that he calls themselves worthless. And Chris, you're right to say I'm really flabbergasted right now. I've never seen anything like this in all my time of being a lawyer. Trump even proceeded at one point to take a piece of paper out of his pocket. It's a page from one of his statements of financial condition, and talk about his personal responsibilities for it. And he asked him if he could pay for that. I can tell you that is not standard. In fact, I've never seen a witness being allowed to reason about this and give themselves to witness it. That's not allowed. But the judge warns him that he won't read that. He said, shock and time. Very angry Donald Trump. The question is whether the Attorney General is getting what they need as a result of that. I'm reading, if I can here soon, from this document. We're getting reports in real time from our folks, our NBC producers who are watching this. Trump is going off, no restraint. What did it feel like to be inside that room? Something so different, as Lisa just pointed out, than anything she's ever seen, or most of us have ever been aware of.
Right, he was really angry, and that just came through almost in every question. Not only was he not responsive, he would answer questions, but then he would go on a speech. It's the one thing that felt like even when he was a guy who was like a travel guide for his various properties, he would go on about how great each one was, and the views from windows, and then he would go back and just be really angry. And at one point, he even started yelling at the judge, saying, "You don't know me, you don't understand me," in essence, and basically how dare you do this. And then Trump's lawyers were in the courtroom and slapped about, and the judge was so angry he just ordered them to sit down. It feels just even Trump's lawyer at one point, he's referring to Donald Trump and said it's the former president, and then he said about the future president, and as a result, I guess he should get more money. And that's the sort of rhetoric you're hearing. I think there's one audience here for Team Trump, and that's the road you're going to. We clearly know that the loss in this case has already come down on summary judgment against them. We're facing a fine, will likely have to pay one after this makes its way through the appellate court. So they were just trying to be as loud as they could to make their point like how unfair they are. But Donald Trump, he's playing a role and many know well that's the particular thing.
Is that, because you're nodding as I'm watching you, Lisa, is that it? You can see no, strategic reason for handling this the way they did, either Donald Trump himself or his lawyers, legally.
Chris, I think if you're thinking about how to mount a constructive defense here, I'm not saying it's a successful one, I would refer you back to last week when we saw Eric and John Jr. Their defense was a much more cognizable one. It was, we effectively ran the company at a very high macro level. We were entitled to rely on the accounts and numbers that we surrounded ourselves with. But that's not Donald Trump's defense at all. Donald Trump's defense seems to be, irrespective of the year of the statement of financial condition that we're talking about, the property in question was invariably worth more than was listed in the statement of financial condition. So there was no overvaluation. If there was, it wasn't material given the whole panoply of his assets. And even if there was material overvaluation, it was an error, it was a mistake. And this judge who doesn't know him labeled him a fraud without correctly ascertaining what his intent was. So every time he goes off on one of these long tangents and the attorney general or the judge objects, Chris Tice is up at his feet saying, essentially, you're going to let this guy off because this really goes to the heart of the case, which is about intent. Really what we're doing here, it's not just about the remedies and the damages, but the attorney general has 6 more claims in addition to the one on which they want summary judgment. Each of those claims require proof of intent by the individual defendants and the Trump entities themselves. So they are trying to show that Donald Trump not only was involved in the valuation problems here, but that he intended for them to happen. He was directly involved in them. He approved and signed off on them. And if he didn't, that wasn't just negligent on his part, that was outright recklessness.
All right, that's going to take a long ass time. I still think he's guilty and he's a clout chaser. He's doing this just for cloutism, and who knows? Yeah, because I have no idea what is he trying to do. But we're going to listen to David Packin. Check this out.
Component of yesterday's disastrous testimony by Donald Trump in court. We heard both from the prosecutor, Letitia James, as well as Trump's hilarious attorney, Alina Habba. Now, I'm going to play some of Alina Habba's statements to you. Statements made to the press. I'm going to play them for you. One of the really important things to understand is that Alina Habba is making these statements outside of the courtroom rather than inside the courtroom, in a place where she is much safer to make them. Important to mention, and here's what she had to say.
It doesn't matter what your politics are. Everyone has a right in this country to get up and put a defense. I don't care who you are. You have a right to hire a lawyer who can put objections on the record. You have a right to hire a lawyer who can stand up and say something when they see something wrong. But I was told to sit down today. I was yelled at, and I had a judge who was unhinged slamming a paper. Let me be very clear, I don't tolerate that in my life. I'm not going to tolerate it for her.
All right, well, she seems to not understand how courtrooms work. And it's sort of a weird comment because judges tell lawyers to sit down all the time. Lawyers often stand to make objections. And judges frequently, I mean, it's not a super weird thing. Judges then get tired of objections or repetitive objections about the same thing, or judges say, I've already made it, I've already ruled on that. Please sit down. Please sit down is so common in courtrooms. But it's almost like she's trying to make herself out to be victim, which is what Trump tries to make himself out to be, and what Alina Habba tries to make Trump out to be. She's really losing her mind in an incredibly unprofessional way. And remember, she's not saying this stuff inside the courtroom. She's saying it outside of the courtroom, on television. She, as we have said before, is far better suited to be a television lawyer than an actual lawyer, as are many of Trump's lawyers, because they have all sorts of different talking points that might sound good on TV, but they aren't legal arguments. And Alina Habba is certainly representative of that. We also heard other things from Alina Habba. Let's take a listen.
I'm not here to hear what he has to say. That was mature, loud, and coming from the judge who's already predetermined that my friend for bringing him into this courtroom.
Remember, that's a really important thing. She's trying to make it seem as though the judge somehow prejudged the case before evidence was presented. This was a bench trial. The way it works is the judge, if they feel they have the evidence they need, makes a determination about the facts. We are now looking beyond that in this part of the trial. She's a lawyer and she knows this. I know she's pretending that this is different. She's not actually this dumb. I'm confident that she actually knows this. But she's, again, acting as though the fact that this is a bench trial and that's how it works is somehow fundamentally unfair to Donald Trump. This is really for those who don't know any better. The audience is people who don't know any better. Political and partisan actors.
I'm not here to hear what he has to say. And why exactly am I being paid as an attorney, and why exactly are taxpayer dollars being used in this courtroom? The answer is very clear. Because Miss James wants to stand right here like she did this morning and call my client a liar, call the company fraudulent, and make a name for herself. She said this morning that the numbers don't lie and they won't lie in this case. Well, Miss James, I have a message for you. The numbers didn't lie when you ran for governor, and that's why you dropped out.
So, again, a totally bogus, fallacious argument. Any prosecution you bring must be invalid because you lost a political race? I mean, what does that mean? It's just not an argument, and this is the level on which these folks are thinking. So, eventually, after the testimony, we did hear from the prosecutor, the attorney general, Letitia James. Very different approach, measured, sober, and calm. Let's listen to what she had to say. Experience tried before communism, a life-changing reform.
Donald Trump, in our case against him, other defendants, and the Trump organization, he rambled, he hurled insults, but we expected that. At the end of the day, the documentary evidence demonstrated that, in fact, he falsely inflated his assets to basically enrich himself and his family. He continued to consistently engage in fraud. The numbers don't lie. Mr. Trump obviously can engage in all of these distractions, and that part of he's wealthy. Exactly what he did when he committed on the stand to engaging in distractions and engaging in that. I will not be about arrest. This case will go on. To get the testimony about the Trump Wednesday, and then plan on closing our case. Then there's some motions on Thursday, and then the defense will present their case in chief. Justice will prevail. It's important that I understand that the have been victorious in our motion for summary judgment, and not referring to discouragement until the case action against Donald Trump and its repeated and consistent fraud against the citizens of the great state of New York.
All right, so that's the final detail I'm going to end our coverage of Trump's testimony on. The defense has not yet presented its case. One of the genuine curiosities that many legal observers have had, certainly with the upcoming criminal trials, but to some degree with the fraud trial as well, is the question: are Trump's lawyers going to try to make in court the arguments that they're making in the media to defend Donald Trump? Because as far as the criminal trials is concerned, many of those are not really legal arguments. They're not going to fly in a court of law. Trump's lawyers haven't yet started their defense in the civil fraud trial. When they do, we will get our first taste of what it might be like to see Trump lawyers build a defense that may not actually be a legal defense. That'll be next week. If you're so...
All right, ladies and gentlemen, that was David Package talking about Trump and his defense. He's already found guilty, but you never know. You never know. People fail upwards very easily. And this has been what has this been? This has been Common Sense Party Podcast. We are available so you can get the common sense of this crazy world. We talked about Rhode Island, talked about Trump, talked about abortion, talked about weed, talked about Kentucky. And we thanked all the people listening to us. We thank you for listening to us. We are available on Amazon, Google, Spotify, wherever you get your podcasts. Give us 5 stars, rate and review. And we will leave tonight with tribute to Matthew Perry.
Welcome to Ms. Mojo. We've put together some videos to remember Matthew Perry's ability to make us laugh, but more importantly, times that he helped make Chandler just as much a friend to us. Afraid to ask him? Could not be more terrifying.
Well, I think you should seriously consider the marriage thing. Give Rachel another chance to dress up like Princess Bubblegum.
Welcome to Ms. Mojo. And today, we're counting down our picks for times Chandler was the one we could depend on for a hysterical yet brutal sarcastic comment.
Okay, once wrong. That's what they used to cover Connecticut.
Number 10, A.A. Milne.
We're all back to Chair City. And I'm the guy who's sitting in a chair.
As far as episodes where the whole cast is iconic, the one where no one's ready is one that fires on all cylinders. We open on Chandler deciding not to spare Joey the horror of drinking fat. The evening escalates into 20 minutes of each member of the group raising Ross's blood pressure by being hyper-focused on something other than getting out the door. While we sympathize with Ross's plight, Chandler simply wanting his seat back is relatable.
Well, it's not like I went to Spain. I went to the bathroom. You knew I was coming back. What's the big deal? Sit somewhere else. The big deal is I was sitting there last. So, that's my seat.
He tries every intimidation tactic, including sitting on Joey, but his friend can't be moved. We must say, Chandler may need to brush up on his Winnie the Pooh readings, but his point stands.
Alright, you'll notice that I am fully dressed. I, in turn, have noticed that you are not. So, in words A.A. Milne, get out of my chair, deal with it.
Conversely, Joey has his Chandler impression down to an art.
Look at me! I'm Chandler. Could I be wearing any more clothes? Maybe if I wasn't going commando.
Number 9, personal and professional. Joey's role as Dr. Drake Ramore on Days of Our Lives is arguably his best and most well-known role.
So I just talked to one of the dual writers today.
What's dual?
Days of Our Lives. My character is coming out of his coma.
So when he gets the call that the good doctor is coming out of his coma, he rushes over to tell everyone. But he follows it up with an apparent non sequitur that he'll also be receiving a new brain. Chandler, never one to waste an opportunity, interjects with yet another one of his clever remarks.
And not only that, I'm getting a new brain. So great things are happening at work and in your personal life.
All this a fastball because Chandler hits this joke out of the park. Not to derail from Chandler here, but Joey's pretty ruthless in this scene too. Case in point.
A brain transplant? It's ridiculous. The only thing that's ridiculous is you haven't had sex in 2.5 months.
Number 8, to be young again. When Joey tells his friends he's up for a part in a commercial playing a 19-year-old, they're pretty dubious.
I gotta look good. I'm supposed to be playing a 19-year-old. What? So when you said get up early, did you mean 1986?
To show he can pass for a teenager, Joey dresses up like one, or at least his idea of one. His absurd outfit and use of youth slang has Chandler borderline speechless. Thankfully, for our entertainment, he doesn't remain that way for long.
On a scale from 1 to 10, 10 being the dumbest a person can look, we're definitely 19.
While Joey may be trying to act off the hook here, it's more like he's off the charts ridiculous, as is Chandler's absolutely wicked birth.
Yes, that's right. Really? Yes. Seriously? Seriously? Seriously, no. Okay? You can put your real age, which is 31.
Number 7, Bo Peep.